Professor Fojano and Professor and also Professor Sripon Tinurai. Shall we start our webinar?
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good
Can you hear
afternoon.
me all right?
Yeah. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And yourself?
Yes.
Nice
Shall
to
we?
see a lot of people attending.
Yeah. Shall we start our webinar today?
I'm still looking if my dean is in or not.
Yeah. So, Professor Fojano, you must be in the ground today.
I'm afraid that the audio is not so clear. Could you repeat that again, please? Your voice is broken.
Oh,
Oh, my dean is here already.
okay. Yes. We see you on screen. Shall we start our webinar? Okay.
The audio is not quite
Yes,
clear.
I should think so. Yes, the dean is here already.
Yeah, but and your audio is not clear for us. I couldn't hear that well.
Okay. Let me test voice. Yeah.
Yang di ruangannya dimatikan saja dulu, Prof.
Sorry for some technical problems. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, clear.
Professor Udamlu, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Let's start our international webinar today. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Uzaib Abdul Matin, PhD. I am a Vice Dean for Students, Alumni, and Collaborations of the Faculty of Adab and Humanities of the Sharif Hidayatullah State Islamic University in Jakarta, Indonesia. Welcome to you all, especially to our Assistant Professor Chantani Karunsari, PhD, the Deans of the Faculty of Sociology, Anthropology, of the, and I'm glad to have our panelists from the Faculty of Sociology and Anthropology of the Thammasat University, Dr. Udomluk Kuntakrul, Dr. Sripon Sri Sinurai, and Assistant Professor Dr. Pojanok, Associate Professor Dr. Pojanok Kanjana Junten. Yeah. As well, our panelists of our Faculty of Adab and Humanities, Dr. Pungki Purnomo. Yeah. So students here of the Faculty of Adab and Humanities who are right now doing field work today, and Dr. Jakia Darajat, the head of the study program of Islamic History and Civilizations of our faculty. And also, I would like to welcome the participants of Thailand, yeah, who are right now on screen. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me first read the schedule of today. First, we would like to listen to the welcoming speeches of the Dean of the Faculty of Adab and Humanities, Dr. Ade Abdul Haq. And next, the welcoming speech of Assistant Professor Chantani Kharunsari, PhD. Afterwards, we would be listening to our panelists, Dr. Udomluk Kuntakrul, Dr. Sripon Sri Sinurai, and Associate Professor Dr. Pojanok Kanjana Junten. And finally, we are going to listen to Dr. Pungki Purnomo. Yeah. Assistant Professor Chantani Kharunsari, PhD, to address her welcoming speech. The time is yours.
Can you hear me clearly? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm delighted to welcoming you all to the webinar today, and I would like to begin by first thank you the undergraduate program on Islamic History and Civilization of the Faculty of Adab and Humanities of UIN Siyari Hidayatullah, Jakarta for holding this webinar. We take this occasion to launch our Memorandum of Agreement between the Faculty of Adab and Humanities, UIN, and the Faculty of Sociology and Anthropology at Thammasat. The MOA was a result of the 6 faculty members from the Faculty of Adab and Humanities visit to Thammasat University in April earlier this year. During the visit, the director of the Thammasat Museum of Anthropology, Dr. Udomluk Kuntakrul, one of today's panelists, had took Dr. Youssef, the dean, the former dean, and other team members from Adab and Humanities to the museum. That was what led us to today's webinar, I guess. And the Faculty of Adab and Humanities has expressed interest in founding a university museum at UIN Siyari Hidayatullah, if I understand correctly, which the Thammasat Museum is willing to share our experience in establishing a university museum. Our museum was founded in 1988, houses around 7,000 objects, and have 2 laboratories for conservation and studying objects. Although running a museum is rather pricey, we believe it's worth it. We have trained many of our students here and wish to expand the museum to be a meeting point for the regional network for research in the social sciences and humanities in general, and in sociology, anthropology, and archaeology in particular. So, with all of this, I am delighted that we have today's webinar, which I believe will lead to further fruitful collaboration between the two faculties. So thank you, the host again, the panelists, and all the participants again today. And I hope all of you will enjoy the information and discussion we will have today. Thank you very much. Not sure if everyone can hear me. I have finishing my welcoming speech.
Sir.
Yeah.
Unmute. It's still unmute, Mr. Usep.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Chantani, the Dean of the Faculty of Sociology and Anthropology at the Thammasat University in Thailand, for your excellent welcoming remark. I'm now going to invite Dr. Ade Abdul Haq, the Dean of the Faculty of Adab and Humanities, Sharif Hidayatullah State Islamic University, Jakarta, to address his welcoming speech. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Usep. Can you hear?
Yes.
Assalamualaikum. Ya, oke.
We can hear.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wala hawla wala quwata illa billah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Good afternoon. Best wishes to all of us. Honorable Vice Deans and heads of the study program at the Faculty of Adab and Humanities, UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta. Dear Associate Professor, Dr. Chantani Fenis, the Dean of Faculty of Sociology and Anthropology at home. Welcome, Prof. Okay, dear speakers of the international webinar, Dr. Udomyuk Hantrakul is the director of the Thammasat Museum of Anthropology, Thammasat University. Dr. Siriforn, Sri Nurai as Museum Committee of Thammasat Community. And Associated Professor Dr. Kojanok Kanjana Junton as also as a Museum Committee at Thammasat University, and Dr. Pungki Purnomo Emlis as a lecturer of library science at Faculty of Adab and Humanities. He's taken a research about academic museum at some universities in Indonesia, like Gajah Mada University and UII at Yogyakarta. Dear moderator, Mr. Usep Abdul Matin, thank you. Mr. Usep is as well as being a liaison in establishing cooperation between the Faculty of Adab and Humanities in Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta and the Faculty of Sociology and Anthropology at Thailand. And honorable guests, the lecturers, and the happy student who cannot be maybe mentioned one by one. Let us praise and thanks God for the presence of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Because of His grace and blessing, we can be present together today in the international webinar from Artifact to Academia, how University Museum expand the horizon and the studies on humanities and social science. The webinar is a form of activity from the joint agreement MOA between PAH and Faculty of Sociology and Anthropology Thammasat, which was maybe signed in early 2023. Hopefully, this can be continued with other activities, maybe such as the presentation of research result between the lectures and the student in these two faculties. Well, the extension of a university museum, as we know, is significant in broadening the horizon of humanities studies. It plays an important role in promoting interdisciplinary education, preserving cultural heritage, and enhancing the academic landscape and culture of the institution. Yeah. As we know that university museum also serve a platform for a collaborative project between academic department and museum staff to develop exhibition, organize event, maybe, and conduct research that combine academic knowledge with museum collection. Yeah. So this collaboration allow for innovative learning opportunities and encourage students to explore the links between academic study and real-world application of discipline. So for this reason, it is important to participate in this international webinar in order to gain the local and global insights that can be used in the further research. So finally, thank you once again to all participants, and let me say maybe wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Hussein.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Abde Abdul Haq, for your excellent welcoming remarks. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to inform you of the objective of this international webinar. For us in Indonesia, especially in the Faculty of Adab and Humanities of the Syarif Hidayatullah State Islamic University, is to highlight and learn successful case studies and best practices of how university museums can contribute to the academia, as well as to respond to any possibly current issue that may occur in the contemporary society. Our panelists of the Faculty of Sociology and Anthropology of the Thammasat University in Pathum Thani, Thailand, plan to give Thammasat Museum as a case study to show this case. And meanwhile, our panelists, Dr. Pungki Purnomo of our faculty, try to address the object-based learning in the university museum in Indonesia. So he did his studies on some museums in some universities in Indonesia. So, okay. For the first speaker, I would like to invite Dr. Udamluk Kuntakrul, Director Museums of the Thammasat Faculty of Sociology and Anthropology. Dr. Udamluk, the time is yours.
Thank you, Professor Yusuf. May I share my screen now?
Okay. Yeah, please be my guest. Tolong di admin.
Okay.
Belum nampak.
Can you see it well now?
Not yet.
Okay. Can you see my slide? Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah.
Oh, I
Salam
already
from you.
shared something.
Yes, we can see it
I try to
clearly.
share again. Okay, I'll try to share again.
Yeah.
Is it clear now?
Not yet. Yes,
Do you see my slide now?
it has come. Yes.
Okay. Okay, and to clarify, my voice is clear, right?
Yes,
Can you hear my
Yes,
voice?
yes, yes, it's
Okay.
clear. It's good.
it is clear.
I'm afraid that it's a bit.
Clear.
Thank you. Okay, hope it's not delay because of the signal. Okay,
Not.
thank you everyone, and good afternoon everyone. And first of clear, okay. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Youssef for inviting us to join this webinar. And when you give us the title of the webinar, From Artifacts to Academia, how does a university museum expand the horizons of studies in humanities and social science? My colleagues and I discussed that the best way for us to respond to this title. So today, three of us will demonstrate our thoughts and expectations as a university museum through museum activities, some of which we have already done, and some of which are still ongoing. We will start with my presentation by giving you a brief introduction of the Thammasat Museum, and my presentation will demonstrate the museum applications as a part of the DETs and networks. The next presentation will be by Dr. Suriphon Sising Urai, our museum committee, who will present her current research that is going to be developed into our temporary exhibition next year. Following the last presentation from the Thammasat Museum, Dr. Pajanok Gatanajanthon, who is our former director of the Thammasat Museum and also our current museum committee. She will present one of our important projects, the data management and digitization work in our museum. So let me start with my presentation. This is our museum motto, and I think it clearly states our perspective and sets up the framework of our work, seeing things, understanding people. That is, although on the one hand, some of our museum collections are research or archaeological or even scientific specimens, on the other hand, these collections should not be only an object of academic study, research, or discussion. They should be linked and connected to our contemporary society as well. So this is our Thammasat building, and let me give you a brief introduction about our Thammasat Museum. So it's, as the Professor Jatanis mentioned, it established in 1987 at Thammasat University, Rangsit campus. And our collections, we house more than 7,000 objects in our museums, including ethnographic collections, for example, textile, wooden craft, agricultural tools, performance art, statues, and also and for exhibition Hello, sorry. It seems like my
Yeah.
signal is gone.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Sorry.
I can.
Can you hear me now?
No, clearly, yes. You may
Okay, so-
pursue your speech, Dr. Udom.
Okay. 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 I will share my screen again. Sorry. Okay. I'm not sure that when I okay, so let's continue. So in terms of acquisition, so our collections are from donations and from our faculty's members, research fieldwork or student fieldwork as well. So this picture can you can get the sense of how many objects, like what kind of object that we have. So it's various things that we host in our museum. For example, agriculture tools that we have these things shared in the Southeast Asia, or some of the basket, or this is a betel nuts set, and some of the contemporary objects and the ancient objects. Also, so now, in terms of our applications, so we generally we have four main. It's divided into four main parts. First is collection management. Second, public service. Third, research and publication, and lastly, exhibition. So today, my presentation will demonstrate these four parts for you to get this and how we work together, and then what we have done before. So let's start from my first part, collection management. So in terms of collection management, we have two main storage in our museums. So all of them are already registered and as inventory in our museum catalog. And also some of the collection work that have been done and then still ongoing is the data management and also the conservation work, which Dr. Pachanok will demonstrate more details in her presentation today. And in this two images show like generally we work with experts and students and also the local community to give us a consult or suggestion on the conservation work. On the left hand is a workshop regarding our inventory and also the data management that we offer the student for the workshop, and then they come to learn how to analyze and do the inventory and registration process for each object. And this is kind of a training skill for the student as well in the class. And on the right hand is a conservation work that we also work with the experts on wooden craft and also the students. And for the second obligation for the public service, it can be divided into three groups and network that we worked with. So the first is academia and national, international students or scholar. For example, our major audiences are Thammasat universities, and the second is the local schools, not only in the central Thailand, but also from other parts of Thailand as well. And the local communities, we work with the elderly and youth group and also ordinary people. And for the local museum network, we have worked with the private galleries or local museums, for example, temple and the private museum, and also the public museum that's partly funded by government. So we have like a scholar and a local together in some activities that we have done. And lastly, we have a public audience come to visit our museum and to contribute in our activities that I will share later. So for academia area, generally our collection will be used in the class or not just restricted in the faculty of sociology and anthropology. Sometimes we offer the collection to be studied by students from another faculty as well. For example, history, architecture, and engineer. So they can send the request, and then we can bring our collections out, and then like have a small workshop for their class. For example, in this left hand image, this class is run by our faculty member. So this is the anthropology class, and then on the right hand is the local schools that regularly visit us to our temporary exhibition quite often. And also for the local communities network, we do some outreach activities. So we provide two strategies. First is providing activities on site. For example, we hold a workshop and lecture series in the museum. So we invite local people or students, or even high school children or preliminary school to come to our site and attend our workshop or events. And second strategy is reaching out to our audiences. For example, we have a mobile exhibitions. So it's kind of a very small exhibition that go outside to the museum to get some attraction from the audience who cannot visit our museum. And then the next, we have been networking with our local schools. For example, we have a workshop that work with the school teacher and try to develop the local history curriculum or environmental discussion. And also we collaborate with other museums in the local. So for example, we have a temporary exhibition that co-curate together. And also we have a seminar series with the other museums. So in this picture, this workshop has we conducted the workshop a few years ago. So we invited a freelance curator here, the lady here, and then we had a workshop with the elderly groups from the local group. And then most of the theme that we consider is about the well-being for the elderly groups. So it's quite successful workshop that we have activities, and then we can bring local to our museum, and sometimes we go out to interview the local as well. This is an example of our mobile exhibition that our museum staff just bring some of our collections and game outside to outside the museum and then set up in the event. So we had like school children attending our mobile exhibition, and also the local communities came into our exhibition as well. And here is collaborating with the local museum. So we are not just only setting up or curate our exhibition, but we offer the collaboration work with the other museums. So in this case, on your left-hand side, the two picture is the event that we collaborate. We went to the local museum and the folk art museum. So it is a temple located in the temple, and mostly we run the small workshop, for example, the basic conservation, and we help them to create a text panel for the local museum for the temple. So yeah, in this workshop, we brought like our students and some of our staff to work with the temple and the monks in the temple museums. Or another example is a consulting with the local craftsmen. So this workshop is a conservation work that work in our on-site museum, in Thammasat Museum. So we received one object called a Buddhist pulpit, which is quite old and in the bad condition. So when we received that object, we started to run the conservation work on site, because this pulpit is quite huge. So in this conservation work, we were not only work with the experts, but we invited the local craftsmen to consult on the motif and on the conservation issue as well. And we have our students to come and learn, and also to do the conservation. And then the third part, we have research and publication applications. So we offer the facilities. So in this case, we have laboratories. We have at least 2 laboratories now, cultural material lab, and then also a basic conservation lab. And we have small library that holds like museum catalogs and the textbook related to museums, and also some of the anthropology textbook. And we have a small area that we can have a small meeting in the library. And we have auditorium room and lecture room that vary. We have several rooms that can run like from a small groups meeting to like 70 audiences in auditorium room. And then we offer the co-working space. So in terms of facility, we think our museum quite ready for people to come, and then not just to see the museum exhibition, but to do some research and then have academic discussion in our area. So for the financial and academic support, we offer funding for research and publication for both students. So like, for example, we have a small budget for the students who want to do on the collection research. And also we offer the funding for a small research for our faculty member as well. And we run a conference like every 2 years we have a big conference. And also we have seminar series in every year. And this is the material lab that we have now. So the capacity, we have the small lab, and then we have the extended area that fit for the small workshop or the classroom, lecture room. And also this is our co-working space that ready for Thammasat students or other colleagues to come. And this is a publication. Generally, we plan to publish edited books and museum catalog every year. And then generally, after we launch the book, we also have a seminar or temporary exhibition that related to the book, edited book as well. In this is a current, this is our last current exhibition and seminar, and the book that we have launched this year, the Primates and Studies and Primate and Me exhibition. And also the lastly exhibition. So we concerned about this area. So first, community engagement. So if you see my previous presentation, you see like we try as much as we can to involve community in our activities, not just to bring them to see our exhibition, but bring them to discuss and also consult with our work, for example, the conservation work and also interpretations. And we offer our area to be a multiple quality. So we believe that everyone has a right to speak, and so we try to encourage them to speak it in our area. And also we have ethical concern and ethical policy in our museum too. When we set up the exhibition, we care about equality, for example, gender equality and accessibilities in our facilities. And we offer our temporary exhibition for the contemporary issues, and also academic discussion. For example, this image is our previous project quite a few years ago that we invited our alumni, our colleagues, faculty members, and also colleagues outside the faculty or academic area to come to our museum and selected one items or one object, and then they can give their own interpretations regarding their experience, or they can have they can tell their stories or their biography or their recollections, memories that related to the object that they selected, and then they can make their own captions, and then we take them a photo. They can decide what dress they want to dress, and then what position of gesture that they want to take with its objects, and then we have a small exhibition with the captions of each of them. So this is our aim for this project, is to invite people to come to give their own voice and interpretation in our collections. So this is a second example that and the last example. So we propose our museum as a platform on which social and contemporary issues are welcome to be discussed. Oh, sorry, Oh, that's another one. Sorry. So this event is a ritual that we launched after the conservation work of these pulpits. So this is a Buddhist pulpit that I mentioned before, and this object had been no longer used for a long time before it was donated to our museum. Then we did some conservation work by consulting with the local craftsmen. And when it was done, we decided to hold a celebration ceremony for these pulpits. And this event provides further discussion on museum practice. That is, in general, modern museums have been critiqued for the way that they tend to decontextualize the object from its original function or context, in this case, from the Buddhist context, and recontextualize the object as a work of art in museum display. In our case, the physical space in our museum gallery seems to have simply fallen into the critique. However, our practice and interpretation are not. So our exhibition is also open for the museum discussion and also the academic discussion on museum practice. And this is the last example of our exhibition. We propose our museum as a platform on which social and contemporary issues are welcome to be discussed. In this temporary exhibition, we closely work with another independent gallery, and this exhibition display objects that related to the political movement and protests in Thailand in the last 20 years. Although the protests are still ongoing, we think that their voice should be recorded and recognized somewhere. And an exhibition in the museum is one platform that we can provide for them. So in this, this temporary exhibition just finished last month. So we had like so many of the audience, including young generation like this, like 10 years old something, and then also teenage, and also the politicians, and also the consul from the foreign country. And what is our goal for? I will end my presentation in this slide. So what is future goals as a university museum? So activities that we have done is we consider on decolonizing practice in our museum. So we allow other voices and interpretations in our collections. We try not to restrict the meaning and the interpretation of the objects in the original context, but we aware of the change and times of the objects. And also we try to involve the community engagement. And finally, we try to decentralize ourselves, for example, knowledge production, including interpretation, that we are not the authority who hold the last final words to say about objects or about the world. And we try as much as we can to collaborate with the locals. Yeah. And what is the challenge of our museum? I think there's so many challenges, but the most important for us is the first thing is the limited financial support. And second, the limited museum staff. We only have 3 permanent museum staff in our museums, and all of the museum committee now are a full-time lecturer in Thammasat. So we have to partly, we also have another commitment as a faculty member in the Faculty of Sociology and Anthropology. And also we have another commitment with the museum. So that's very difficult for us to try to do a time management. And I will end my presentation here, and then I'll, I think, pass another presentation example to Ajahn Siriporn and Dr. Phochanok. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Udamluk, for your excellent speech. And it is highly interesting to understand from your speech that museum has a great contribution to establishing museum as a place that provides knowledge as not fixed. as it engages community. Yeah. So this is highly important and interesting. Yeah. You have explained about the Thammasat University Museum of Anthropology that really engages with the community through exhibitions, lectures, workshops, and public programs. And then by this engagement, you also focus on leading the Thammasat University Museum of Anthropology to have progressive knowledge reproduction. Yeah, that is really wonderful. Yeah. So thank you very much for your wonderful speech, and big applause to you, Dr. Odamlu. Yeah. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Srifon Sri Sinurai, yeah,
Thank you so much.
who also is going to present how university museum, that is Thammasat University of Museum, Thammasat University Museum of Anthropology, can contribute to the academia as well as to respond to any possibly current issue that may occur in the contemporary society. So, Dr. Srifon Sri Sinurai, the time is yours.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me well, right? Okay. Good. Let me share
we can
screen,
hear.
please. Okay. Few minutes for me to share my screen. Today, I will present you in the more very little scale about and temporary exhibitions that our team at Thammasat Universities and Thammasat Museum of Anthropology try to setting up a temporary exhibitions next year. Let me share full screen. Few minutes. It's okay, right? Yeah, can you
Yes,
see
can
my
see
screen,
you
right? Okay,
clearly.
thank you so much.
Yes.
I can to reduce the audience. Okay. This is the project that I'm working on for now, and aims to making a temporary exhibitions that about the story that would be the collective experience of us, not only in Thailand and I think all around the world, about the modern pandemic, or that we have thinking about social consequence and the material effect of COVID-19. And in this process, in this project, what I will tell you today is it should be separated into 5 topics. First of all, I will introduce you about the exhibition project and the background, and to tell you what we have been doing, because this is the project that now ongoing and we working collaboratively with several collaborators, and I will show you how this museum connect and to network with people and working with them about this topic. And the third would be the exhibition themes that is tentative, and the next is about the findings at this stage, preliminary findings and reflections, especially from me, because we now working from several people and in several ways, but today is based on my reflections mainly, and what is the next, the further step of the exhibition. I think I have problems about to my slide chain on my screen is not changed. Let me share again, sorry. I got my slide is stuck.
Okay. Takes time. Yes, we can hear it clearly.
Okay. It's scary, but it's not changed. Sorry. Any apology for this. It's okay, but it's kind of move on to the next one. What's happening?
Oh. Salam, can you help Dr. Sirifon to share screen?
Sorry. Okay, let me try again.
Okay, you may try it again.
Mhm. Okay, I think it's
Yes.
okay now. Yeah.
It's good.
And
It's good.
we are the team that in the Tuesday we are co-workers with this team has is me and Professor Chantani Charansi is also a part of this team, and another two colleagues is Ajahn Panarai Oscar Pilat and Ajahn Wanaporn Rienjan, who also have expertise on the material cultures and database of museum. For at the beginning of my work, my framework and perspectives is also shared with, I think, several of you all that in the contemporary time, we very concerned with the socials and the social museum. Especially my background is also by training is sociologist. So I'm very concerned with the roles of museums in the contemporary societies, and also concerned as well as the concern of museologists or social museologists that would be have main highlight with the social inclusion and engagement of people. And when we work with these exhibitions, I'm seeing and working on museum exhibitions as a kind of platform, as well as an exhibition experiment and in the beginning of process. And this is our journey, and I will tell you what have been doing and happening. Our purpose on these exhibitions is aims to collect and exhibit social memory and experience of people on the COVID-19 pandemic, which also have long-term, more than we expect, not only 1 year, but 2 or 3 years. And even today, they also have the social consequence and material effect of COVID-19 in our everyday lives, especially of the ordinary people. And another purpose we aims to creating the learning space and inclusive platform for various group of people, especially our students, and try let them to go to museum and to have any kind of activities that they would like to. And the third purpose is about the networking and the building collaboration through the exhibition and curatorial process. That would be the main content that I will tell you today. The location you already have seen. I will pass this forward very quickly. We will exhibit at Thammasat University next year. You also have seen from the slide of our directors. This is our team. There's a big team, not only 4 or 5 of us today. We also have several support from our colleagues and our museum staff in our faculties. So it's quite a big team. And this is the entrance of the museums to the main hall that you will see that Ajahn Udom already says. This is the main hall that we also have exhibition, temporary exhibition several times, and now is also in the process of to setting up the permanent exhibition. And this I will show you briefly about the area that we have. And this is the main hall that we have been exhibit the photo exhibitions about the rice field, the rice cultures, and the rituals to worship the goddess of rice. And our exhibitions, our temporary exhibition about COVID-19, we're setting up in the two small rooms on below This is the area that we want to exhibit the exhibitions about Tung Rangsit or the Rangsit field, where is the locations of our universities, and recently about the evidence of resistance that you have seen, and also related to the young generation, especially some of them are our students. An object that we show not only about the movement for democracy, but also related to another kinds of movement that go together about the queer and non-binary, about the environmental issue, about the environmental justice. And what we have been doing about the exhibitions about COVID-19. First of all, we have setting up research on the same topics, but we getting started with the documentary research first, and to develop more depth questions and more advanced research in the futures. But at the beginning, after we making documentary research and literature review, we also have seen books, many research, both in Thai and in English, about the COVID-19, and this is also have very important result for us to setting up our temporary exhibitions. And we also collect the basic data about timelines, several kinds of timelines, or not only in the local scale, but also in the global scale of pandemic. And we have our students who are the teams, several of them have to make this, to collect and to make these data visualize as the infographic for us, timelines and a kind of, this is, we should say, we can say this is an database, little database that designed by Ajahn Wanaporn Renjang, who have been working on this area for a long while. So she designed this database, and making the database is easily to use by students or ordinary people. We use just only Google Form and Google Sheet, but aims to register objects that we found, we collect, and in the future we will use in our exhibition, and to make this data systemized. And I think it's very useful, especially we work with the big team, so we can share this database and data to each other, and to work more depth about the story of exhibitions. And one of our researchers focus on it's called the pharmacy or the dark shop, dark store, that she also at her home, she also working in the pharmacy shop. So she collecting data about the story that people come to the dark store to buy things that they need, or this is to really shortage at that time. Masks or alcohol or gel or everything, we cannot access them during the peak time of the pandemic, and the pharmacy shop is very important for local people. And she setting up the scene. That is would be one of the main part of our exhibitions. In each object that you can click and you can see the story in many aspects. And these are examples of infographic that she made for us. It's about the marks and about you can see in the graph, you can see that during the time of peak pandemic, the price is higher than in the normal time, 400%. And this is really serious and at that time, and a very struggle of local people to access facilities or things that they have to use in their life, in their everyday lives during the time of COVID. And we also have another kind of story. Mainly this part at the beginning is from our students. They also collect and record about the story of social inequalities related to COVID-19 in everyday life or struggle of their life during the time of COVID, about under the lockdown and under the difficult to access study to learning in everyday life. And also they have several objects that we found and have been created during that time that show about the problems, the difficulties, or the social inequality during that time. This is about the vaccine. You may have seen, have heard about a lot of problems about vaccine during the COVID. And this is a wristband. The wristband is quite important for her, the student who collected this for me. She said that during the time that everyone, most of them cannot access the vaccine. It can be another shops, another book, another department store can present a campaign that let people come to get vaccine for the discount in the store. And this is quite show the what is called inequality, that why a lot of people cannot get access the vaccine, but some people have privilege to get this in the strange way. So after the documentary research and sorry for our student, now we setting up the temporary tentative themes of our exhibition into at least eight topics. You can see mainly we interested in the everyday life of several groups of people, the elderly people, the precarious, the youth and their student life, and the workers that should be extended to be a varieties of workers that have effect from the COVID-19. And another important that we now going and we show you in the next slide is about the migrant workers at the border that we also working collaborative with a research center there to getting to collecting and to prepare the story for the exhibition. And another that I also have been interested and have seen from the object is about the bureaucracy and bureaucratic objects. And the last two is about the death and mourning and remembrance that have a big issue in this exhibition. I will show you next about the working that we working with a lot of several, should be too much to be say a lot, several companion and network. First of all, we work with the agency or the supporters or subunit in our university, the Thammasat University Hospital, Thammasat Archive, giving us some collections and have we saying the story, a lot of story there. And the next research center that I work with now is known as the Area-Based Social Innovation Research Center in Chiang Rai at the Mae Fah Luang Universities, that also working closely with the Center for Migrant Worker to help the migrant worker during the time of COVID, because they very struggle and have cannot access to a lot of support or facility during that time. Another organization is one of the foundation in Chiang Mai. They working with the older person development in several issue, environment, the disaster management, but also during the time of COVID, they turn their mission to help the other people to come across the pandemic and have a lot of story there. And I'm now working with them to prepare content for our exhibitions. And another group is very important and should be the major actors in our exhibition is our student, alumni, colleague, friend, and friend of friend. They also let me know the resort about this story and to collect things that we would like to have. And I will show just only one part of collaboration with the Centers for Migrant Workers and the Mefalong University to work on the subtopic of the COVID-19 border and migrant workers. I'm getting started to this project with this kind of painting that one researcher that who also alumni of our faculty, she do research about the COVID-19 and the female migrant labor in Chiang Rai, and they use art paintings is a part of her research. And then we working together recently in this summer, we setting up a workshop for students at Mefalong University to let them help us to collecting data and present some kind of story from the borders. And this is the picture you see here is our workshop 3 days that we setting up as the beginning of the 2 month period of collecting data by this group of students. And we have several sections, not only with in the seminar room about theory, about concept idea. We also going outside to another local museum in Chiang Rai that a good friend of us, he worked on Payable Museum and quite have experience to produce the media in the small scale for students, for local museum, and for us to letting how to use this kind. You see in the photo is the hologram, but this is doing it yourself. A small kit that we can work ourselves to present story or object in the 3-dimensional way, and quite interesting. And how they use this. This is the process that we train this group of students. And then they help us to collecting data about the migrant workers from the migrant workers and migrant community in Chiang Rai. So they have a lot of things, and yes, we let them please register it into our database. And this is the outcome that they aims to do, but now it's ongoing. After they have been training by our colleagues, some tell them about the object biography, some introduce them about the concept of mobilities and migrations. So they would like to make this outcome as a booklet after 2 months of the working process. One is about they would like to address the role of the Center for Migrant Workers during the time of COVID. Another one would like to mapping things, objects, and people that come around the area. It's quite interesting, but I'm not yet to see the final output. But this is the topic that they tell me recently that they would like to come up. And the last one is also very interesting. That this group of students would like to address the uniform as the, we could say, she said that the topic is a uniform, the suit of responsibilities. What is the meaning of several kinds of uniform that local volunteers like to make, to use in the local context? They have meanings not only with local community, but also meaning to the government officer as well. And this is the task that we working with the Chiang Rai at collaborator at Chiang Rai at Mefalong Universities on the migrant workers at the borders of Chiang Rai. And what is the next? I have a lot of time. I will shortly to tell you about what we're going on in the future. Yes, we also networking and working collaborator with several companies and network that we have already contact. And another part, the big part, it would be called the artifact and story from the public. This is the next step, the important step that we will going to in the near futures. And about the research, after documentary research, now we will working further on in-depth to the qualitative research and ethnographic research. But another part, we also zoom out to the big pictures of spatial analysis of things that we found during one and a half year that we working on this project. And last but not least, exhibition design will come soon to thinking how to present or how to design experience from the data, the things that we already have been collect, how to present this to visitor, and we have to see thinkings about the exhibition or exhibition space, not only as the text or things, but also as a sensory time space that you may have heard that we also important for contemporary society and contemporary museums, museum work. And lastly, I would to conclude what is the finding at this stage and reflection for me after working with the exhibition. At the first, you may remember I said that we see exhibitions as a platform as well as an exhibition experiment. But after we working for now, we also have seen exhibition itself as a research method as well. Not only we research and to present at the exhibition, seeing exhibition as the media of knowledge, the exhibition itself, its process can be a research method. It can help us to collect voices, story, memory from ordinary people that we can see this story is different from the narrative of outbreak that we have heard from the center, from the government, from the media, mainstream media. They have so many stories that have not been telling and have not been visualized to the public. And another aspect that important is about capacity building. After we work together, it's just not just only we know things or we are experts about this area, no, but we are also learners, and the exhibition process or the collaborative field that we working together is also the place that for capacity building for us, for collaborator, for students, not only our students at Thammasat University, that we working with Phá Luang University, we also have seen what is called energies and the positive thinking, positive, enthusiastic in the kind of work and of museum. And this is very, very hopeful and very, very good aspect that we learn from this exhibition. And I would like to end, yes, the last slide, right? You connect back to our webinar title. I quite agree with this, and this is the way that we would like to act and would like to do, such as I tell you about this example of our little exhibition. But I would like to address another aspect, not only as the fact to academia, but we have to address explicitly about the society and people, and because of we connect to society. It is quite more possibility for university museum to expand the horizon of the study, because sometimes when museum or university detach or far away from society, the horizons of the knowledge will be narrow as well. This is what we try to do, and let me stop the share, and thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sripon.
Let me stop slide. Thank you so much.
Right, yeah, for your excellent speech. Yeah. So this is highly interesting to understand that as Dr. Sripon Sri Sinurai was saying, that museum is a media, is the media of knowledge, which means that museum is not only the past, but it should be social. Museum should be a place where voices, stories, memories of the ordinary people should be engaged, should be experienced by others. And this is, I think, one of the points of the museum that contributes to the contemporary issue, especially when we were in the pandemic COVID-19 time. Yeah, it is very interesting. Yeah, the voices of people were collected in this museum in terms of the artifacts, the meanings, the social meanings of people. Yeah, it's highly important. Yeah, so I think the current social issues have to be engaged by the media of museum as the media of knowledge. Yeah, and this is wonderful. Yeah, and museum also as a sensory time space. Yeah, so sensory time space, that the term that Dr. Sri Sinurai used. Okay, so thank you very much, and let's give a big applause to Dr. Sri Sinurai. Yeah, okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
So,
much. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Siripon. So let me invite the third speaker, that is Associate Professor Dr. Pojanok Kanjana Junten, yeah, who will also explain to us about how the academia can obtain many advantages from the Thammasat University Museum of Anthropology and respond to any recent problem they may happen in the present day society. Yeah. Associate Professor Dr. Pojanok Kanjana Junten, the time is yours.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to say that I'm honored to be part of this webinar, and I will need my Dr. Udomrak to help me with sharing the screen because I haven't got my laptop with me. So, and we tested the other day. It's okay, better do it from the laptop. Yes, and my topic is digitization in museums, and the title may be a little broad, but I'm going to be focusing on digital technology in collection management and talk about what we have done to develop a so-called standard system for collection management. And basically it is a backstage management, which we believe to be very important as well. And we are aiming to be a model of best practice in museology or museum management. Yes, and we can go on to next slide, please. Can I have next slide?
Oh, no, cannot.
Maybe we have to wait a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and museum responsibilities, it is not all about exhibiting beautiful objects or telling exciting stories, inspiring people, but we have responsibilities such as preserve collections. We have to do the collection care, and we have to serve public, and we have to create environment for learning, and we have to facilitate teaching and research, and also engage with community, and also sharing knowledge. And the picture that I showed is with the training of the conservation of one of our central pieces in the museum. Next slide, please.
I'm sorry, it seems a problem. I need to share again.
I think Zoom these days is the problem. Okay, and at the digital age, we need to adjust to various things, and so we need to know, we need to be aware of certain technologies, and we need to be aware of new methods of the audience to acquire knowledge, and everything everything can be found at the fingertips, as everyone know that. And also we have diverse audiences, and their interests are various. And also we, as the museum, the university museum, we've been expected to serve public, and not only Thammasat University community, but we also are expected to serve communities around the university as well, such as teachers, students, and or parents, or relatives of the people who admitted to the university hospital, and they have a couple hours to kill, so they could come to our museum as well. And with all that, we have to be aware of modern technology, which one can be supportive to our works. And the top image is a colleague from the Faculty of Architecture. So he came to do the 3D imagery. And the bottom picture is the Halloween night, when the audience said they'd like to hold fun events like Halloween night. So we provided that space and made it a little bit academic, not all the fun parts, but also have some planted some thought about life and death as well. Okay, next slide, please.
Sorry, again, it's again.
Okay, the fourth one. Yes, thank you.
Maybe
And
it might be better to do this way. Sorry, just not show the full screen. Sorry.
If you could reduce it, yeah. Is it okay? We'll have to ask the. Should we do it this way? Okay.
Yeah.
And right. And if you could get rid of the toolbar.
Oh.
At the bar where the arrow pointing down, if you click that, it will. It's okay.
Sorry.
Now, am I still with you? My picture seems to disappear.
Yeah.
Oh no, what happened? Okay, I don't know what's happening. Anyway, okay. I'm going to carry on, even if people don't see my face, but they could hear me anyway. I may come back later. And this is the photograph of the colleague doing the 3D imagery. And And it was one of the modern technologies we explored. This was a test shot that he did, and it looked exciting, and at least it can attract people's attention. However, 3D imagery can do a lot more than that, and it has great potential in conservation and education, since the cost has come down significantly. However, we have to be selective and use technology wisely and understand how and where to use them effectively. And next slide, please. And next slide, please. Thank you. And technology can maximize a museum's capacity in doing many things. For example, collection management, doing research, and doing exhibition, and also supporting teaching and training programs, and forming best practice, as we are trying to do. So one of the things that we have to sort out is the collection database if we aim to be best practice in museology. So we already had a software program, but we needed a database which we could do data analysis. And next slide, please. It actually started from, we wanted to update our website, and I was suggested to talk to someone from the National Science and Technology Development Agency. I thought it was great because they may give us a good price for that. Then I happened to meet with someone who later became the director of Science and Technology Knowledge Services Division, Kun Bunlert Arunpibul, and we discussed about museum website and so on. And then he asked me if I knew anything about standard system for museum, and of course I didn't know anything about it, but eventually became interested in it. And then he suggested to me to think in terms of the database for managing everything for the museum, not only the object management, but to cover every function of the museum. And so I did come up with models as shown on the slide. This is perhaps the idealized database, but we started from the collection management with the cataloging. Next slide, please. And so this is how we started. We have explored standard systems used by other museums. So, so we looked at the website. We couldn't get into their database system, but this is a database that they showed on their website of the British Museum and the Penn Museum. And we have to know what we need for our collection as well. And then we have to make comparison between the system that other museums have used and selected the one which is suited Thammasat Museum, and also look for a partner, because it's a big job. We cannot do it all ourselves. It's not only about the software program, but we have to do something with the structure of the program. Next slide, please. And we had various meetings with museum people, inviting them to come and go to talk to them. And we wanted to see a good model. So we visited a world-class museum like the National Palace Museum in Taiwan. We visited their northern branch and also the southern branch. And we asked to see their database system and their backstage management. It was a great experience, and we learned a lot from their impressive management. Then we came back, and everyone had agreed that yes, we got to do it. And then I was told that good luck to you, and we will all get back to our busy job and see you later. And so, but I wouldn't give it up that easily. So thanks to the faculty, the current dean, the previous dean, and all museum directors who allow me to pursue this project. And Kun Bunlert Arunpibul, the gentleman on the top left photograph, who is wearing glasses, and he was the one who's been a very resourceful consultant all the way through, and he was tirelessly answered my naive and probably ignorant questions about standard system, and we also been very grateful to have Lucy Pond, the lady on the top left picture as well, sitting in front of the white screen. She was and she still is a project researcher who is very knowledgeable about museum objects and put great energy into this project. And this project couldn't happen without them. And next slide, please. And museum is one of the 3 places that require database, which with a standard system. Are you familiar with searching library catalog? And most of them have, most libraries have a standard system so that our search is effective. But it is not the case for museums and archives in Thailand. So it is what we are trying to establish, a standard system for museum. So we have chosen CDWA as our structure standard. And CDWA is a standard system for cataloging artworks and museum objects. Technically, it can communicate with other systems so that the data can be shared and exchanged. It is also transferable into new system or the future technology, since the technology is changing so fast, and the CDWA is capable of connecting to the future technology. And with the standard system, it will equip us with transparency in management, which is very important as well. And museum, because there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes. So behind we have the backstage, we have storage rooms, and there are many things. And at the National Palace Museum that we went to visit, they plan to open their database, 100% of the database open to public, but the public cannot make any alteration. But it's part of their policy of the transparency management. And that is the way to go, I think, with museum that receive a lot of funding. Okay, next slide, please. And so we looked into CDWA structure to see what fields they have, and CDWA has 31 fields and a number of subfields. Yes. Okay, we're back to normal now. And we go to next slide, please. And the first slide is 17 and 28, and the next one, next slide, please. Okay, these are all fields and subfields of CDWA. Okay, and next, please. And so we asked ourselves, did we need all 31 fields as suggested by CDWA? And we compare it with our existing data and see what fields we did have but should have. And next slide, please. And so we mocked up cataloging on paper by using objects from our museum. Next, please. And so we went through all the fields and tried to do cataloging with different types of objects, and decided that we needed 28 out of 31. Okay, all this that I've showed. Okay, and once we have established the CDWA, there are a lot of things to do before getting on to creating a new software program. Next, please. And we need the standard for data content. That was where we had to spend a lot of time with to create content standards and use them as a format for cataloging. For example, the units of measurement and the measurement precision. something which may sound basic. However, we have to make some agreement, or we have to use the same handbook. We have to do the same thing all the way through, the whole catalog. So we need a handbook, or we need, but we don't have to start everything from scratch, because there are things available already, like CCO. It's the instruction guide for cataloging, created by the VRA. So, but we have to do it in Thai and put the Thai content into it. And next, please. And then we needed the standard for data value, and we had to create control vocabularies relating to museum objects, like museum object types, places names, standard terminologies, historical periods, and building up taxonomy, lexicon, glossary, by consulting dictionaries and publications, and provide references. And one of the things that we mustn't do is to coin a new term ourselves. If a situation has arrived that we have to come up with some terminology, we would have to make it clear that it is the pro tem. There might be a more appropriate term in the future. Next, please. And these are examples of our control vocabularies that Dusidiporn has done a lot, and it's like 4,000 words, something like that. Next slide, please. And there was an endless mocking up cataloging. So we have to try, test and try before we come to the software program, because once we created the program, it's going to be difficult to go back. So we have to do it rigorously and to make sure that it works for our museum. And fortunately, because our museum has different types of objects, we have artifacts from antiquity, and we also have ethnographical materials as well, and kind of and also materials from recent history too. Okay, next, please. And here we are, the software created by the Science and Technology Knowledge Services Division. And okay, and this is how the database looked like. So I'm afraid that I couldn't get into the system, because otherwise there will be maybe a technical problem. So I use the screen capture to show you. And this is how the database looked like. When you log in and search for a particular type of object. So I did at the search. So I type in basket. So there are a list of baskets turned up, and when I picked one, and so this kind of database. So you can look into the object, where this particular object is housed, and when it has been conserved, has it been exhibited, and when and what exhibition, and has it been published anywhere? Okay, next, please. And okay, and this is the summary page. Next, please. Okay, again, next, please. Yeah. Okay, next, please. Okay, and this is just the beginning. We have the program, and we have to do cataloging before we could analyze such data. In the near future, we plan to release the program to public domain. Any museum can contact us to obtain a source code, and they may wish to develop the program further to suit their requirements. And this is not all. Once we have a standard system and a software, we still need to do the cross-checking for accuracy, and we need to do more research, and we need collaboration with other institutions and also the local communities or regional communities, because as Dr. Udomrat has said, that we don't know everything, so we knew just something. So we have to work with other people, and we have to acquire knowledge from outside the university and outside the academic world. And we need to do training for our staffs, and it will be a good base for student training as well. And we try to make museum as a fun place for students. And in the meantime, there is still a lot of cataloging work to do. And thank you for listening. And that is all for me.
Okay.
Now
Thank you
now
very
I'm
much,
back.
Associate Professor.
My pleasure. It
Okay.
is my pleasure.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much, Associate Professor Fazanul Kanjana-Junten, for your excellent speech of the fact that museum has a great role not only in preserving, not only in preserving and showcasing Thammasat University's rich history and cultural heritage, but also creating and facilitating educational experiences for students, faculty, and the wider community by digitization. Yeah, so this is very important. And then this role is strengthened by actions such as collaborating with others, building networks, training staff and students, especially by cross-check for accuracy and, I think, research commitment. That is wonderful speech of our Associate Professor Fazanul Kanjana-Junten. Yeah, please give applause to Professor Fazanul. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very
So
much.
you are most welcome. We have learned about knowledge reproductions engagement from Dr. Udam Luke, and then the role of a museum as a media of knowledge from Dr. Siripan Sri Sinurai, and about the role of museum not only as preserving, serving, but also creating, but also serving and creating and facilitating academia and the wider community, with information in terms of digitizations. Now let's us go to Dr. Pungki Purnomo, who has visited and studied some museums in some universities in Indonesia. Dr. Pungki Purnomo, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much for this chance. First of all, I would like to thank to the Dean of Faculty of Adab and Humanities, and also to the Dean of Faculty of Sociology and Anthropology at Thammasat University. And many thanks also to Deputy Dean of Faculty of Adab and Humanities, and also to the head of Department of History and Islamic Civilization, who organized this valuable academic meeting. Hopefully, this meeting is we take many advantages. Okay. Okay. Now, let's see. Okay. My presentation title is Object-Based Learning in University Museum in Indonesia. Actually, this presentation is based on my and our college research in several university museum in Indonesia, like such as Anthropology Museum of University Gadjah Mada and University Museum of University Islam Indonesia and University Pendidikan Indonesia and the others. Okay. These are the agendas of my presentation. Is the first introduction. In introduction, I will discuss briefly about university and university museum in Indonesia, and the practice of object-based learning in some university in Indonesia, university museum in Indonesia. The second is we will discuss the reason of why university museum is important, and third, we'll discuss about institutional problem faced by most of university museum in Indonesia, and fourth, about the discussion about the common practice of object-based learning in Indonesia university. Okay, as an introduction, I will explain here that actually the practice of object-based learning in most university museum in Indonesia is not different with what conducted by by reputable university museum in the world. That as we all know, that by conducting object-based learning in museum, students can be stimulated to be more active and more participated in learning process. And then about the role of a university museum, actually is not different with the role of library, academic library. That university museum also have role in supporting of university mission, namely education, research, and community service activities. And the last one of my introduction is that museum university is in based on my research funding, there are no one argue that university museum is not important, but unfortunately there are still many of campus community don't care about its establishment of university museum. Now we discuss about the reason why university museum is very important. At least there are 4 aspects, factor why university museum are important. The first one is access to primary source. You know that typically museum university hold a wealth of primary source of source material that can be used to support a research project and enhance learning, student learning. And then the meaning of exposure to the diverse perspective is that museum university with the collection often offer diverse perspective of study. Let's see. For example, the one collection we can study in various perspectives, such as in religious perspective or artistic perspective, cultural perspective, and the others. Then about collaboration and interdisciplinary learning is it is common for museum to collaboration with different institution like library and archive institution, and the last one is community engagement. The community engagement is very important. Museum cannot walk alone. Museum university must be work with the community, to and this community must be involved to make program, operation program. Okay. Now we discuss about institutional problem of university museum in Indonesia. As we all know that institutional aspect is very important. This is because this institutional aspect influence other factors. In contrast to libraries, museum in university in Indonesia have not been supported by official legal regulation. It means not like a library and arts, university archive that have legal regulation to operate their program. Unfortunately, in Indonesia, university museum are not supported by official legal regulation like this. This is therefore there are many university museum in Indonesia suffering by because there is a legal regulation that legal regulation, and university also because there are not legal regulation. University cannot have a university museum to run the operation, and then many university museum in Indonesia must be doing must survive by itself themselves. Okay. And the effort to overcome the obstacles faced by the museum university by manager university, usually they strive to collaborate with expert and local government museum, and this is a condition must be therefore Ministry of Education and Culture is required to pay attention to provide legal regulation to be more in order museum in university museum in Indonesia become better and better. Okay. Based on my research finding, in the type of university museum based on ownership, there are two types of museum university. The first one is university museum. The characteristic of a university museum is the collection reflect a record of university journey and development, and visitors are generally the general community, and the purpose of the visitor tend to be to get general information, entertainment, and pleasure. And the second type of university museum based on ownership is faculty or study program museum. Okay. In terms of university museum in Indonesia on the basis of discipline subject, there are 4 types of museum university. The first one, Museum of History. This museum history is aimed to narrate the chronologically historical journey of institution or event. This type of museum usually under university authority or faculty. The second type of museum university is Museum of Science and Technology. This is we can find in some university museum like University Dinamika, and the third type of museum university is Museum of Art. And the last one, Museum of Natural Science History. Okay. And now about the practice of object-based learning in most university museum in Indonesia. There are 3 conditions. The object-based learning practice can be conducted in university museum in Indonesia. The first one through exhibition. The second one, object-based learning can be practiced by incorporating into curriculum through various courses. And the last one, object-based learning practice can be conducted through community engagement program. This is object-based learning learning practice through exhibition. This exhibition usually display various primary source materials such as historical document, artifact, replica, artwork, and other material for purpose of education, research, and enjoyment. Object-based learning practice through exhibition encourage visitors to independently explore and interpret objects from diverse perspectives. And object-based learning practice through exhibition can also be accompanied by guide such as educator, docent, and curator. And And then here, object-based learning can be conducted by incorporating into curriculum. Incorporating object-based learning by incorporating into curriculum can be implemented in all various discipline of course, like such as in history classes, in science courses, in art classes, and anthropology courses. And the last one, object-based learning can be conducted through museum community engagement program. You know that museum community engagement program is aimed to connect museum with their surrounding communities, fostering meaningful interaction and promoting a sense of ownership and inclusivity. This is an example of community engagement program. And the first one is outreach program. The outreach program is aimed to allow individual who may not have access to museum in engage with its content and activities. The second activities is education program aimed to make learning enjoyable, interactive, and accessible. And third one, activity of family days and weekend days, event. This event include the session of storytelling and painting that cater to different age group. And the fourth activity, community collaboration. Collaborations with local community organization, artists, performance, and so on. Then, and the last one, the program of volunteer and internship opportunities. The summary of this presentation, by conducting object-based learning in museum with valuable resource enable students and faculty to deepen their knowledge, enhance their research, and engage with diverse perspectives and communities. Thank you very much for your listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Pungki Purnomo, for your insightful and excellent presentations. Yeah. As we may be aware that object-based learning, OBL, is a type of active learning that deals with wonder, awe, curiosity, and engagement by using artworks, artifacts, archival material, or digital representations of unique objects. And this approach is to inspire close observations and deep critical thinking. And that's what I understood from Dr. Pungki Purnomo's speech. Yeah. Next, Pak Pungki concluded that the implementations of the object-based learning in museums that he studied at some universities in Indonesia in connection to the valuable sources of the museums, indeed, help enable academia to deepen knowledge as well to enhance their academic visions with a deeper and critical perspective and communication. And he was saying that in doing so, it also has some problems, especially to make the museum easily accessible for the wider community. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Pungki Purnomo, for your wonderful speech. So, ladies and gentlemen, so thank you very much for your attention and participation. Now we have some time for questions and comments from the audience. Please raise your hand if you have questions, on the screen, and wait for the time for you to deliver it. And please also state your name and affiliation before asking your question. But I already see here, in the chat, there are some questions, and let me read them first. The first question comes from Dr. Muhammad Rashid Ridho from the State Islamic University of Sunan Gunung Jati in Bandung, West Java. Let me read it. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, Usep, and the amazing seminar committee of this faculty of the Syarif Hidayatullah State Islamic University, Jakarta. You are most welcome, Dr. Rashid. I have a question to Professor Kanjana Junten as follows. Professor Kanjana Junten, glad to hear from you and allusions about training skill. My question is, based on your most current experience, what the skills do we need more urgent for a feasible museum to function in this digital age? So, Professor Kanjana Junten, do you want me to read another question addressed to you, or the first question first?
Yes, I think I should address the first question first. I think it is difficult to.
Please.
Yes, I already type in, but I'd like to share with other audience as well. And Ajahn Udomlak or Ajahn Siriphorn could add to the questions as well. I think it is difficult to be specific as to what is the skills that we need urgently. And I think with we listen to all the papers, and we know that museums are not the place where we have a lot of money, so we are short of funding, and what I think we have to be realistic about the situation, and digital can be I think we should look at technology as a tool, not as something that will make us, or we have to keep up with the high technology or anything. So I think as long as we have clear purpose of having the museum, I think that is the main thing. And digital it can be useful and very handy when you want to reach out more people. But at the same time, you have to understand your audience as well. You have to understand their behavior as to how they acquire knowledge. And if they're going to, there are so many museums online, and the lack in understanding is how people acquire knowledge about museum or history or archaeology or some other knowledge. Would they go into museum for the start? And as I said, it's difficult to be more specific as to which skill is more urgent. But I would say that technological skill or computer skill is not more important than skill of understand the objects or to extract information from the objects. That I think for the museum is more important than to make museum more fancy with all kind of technology. Yes, and if you could read the second question for me, please.
Yes, thank you very much. Let me read the second question from Mr. Ahmad Farhan. Yeah. What skill we need urgently? It's probably difficult to be specific, but I believe that we can start from what we can do best and explore what available and possible. Digital skills are not more important than content creation. So, what do you think about that, Professor? Oh, and this is from you, I think. Sorry, sorry, this is from you. Let me read another question from this one. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. You are most welcome. I have a question to Professor Kanjana Junten as follows. What are the similarities and differences between traditional museums and digital museums from the physical aspect, the spatial aspect, the servers aspect, and other aspects? And how about the digital museum preservation system of cultural property heritage in digital media? So I would like to invite Professor Kanjana Junten to respond to this question of Mr. Ahmad Farhan.
Yes, and it's a big question, and look as if we could do another panel to discuss about this. And what's the differences between the traditional museum and the digital museum? I think it's the differences. We could see that the physical. I think nowadays museums, especially after the COVID-19, and museum have used digital technologies more to reach out to their audience. And however, digital museums cannot replace the actual museum, the physical museums, I believe. But on the other hand, certain institutions, they don't have collection as objects, but they have certain things like they have archives, they have photographs, they have certain materials which can exhibit online. I think we do that. I think digital museums and actual museums are we shouldn't really make comparison between them, but I think we should say what the purpose of the museum and what messages museums would like to deliver to their audience. And I would say the same as my previous answer, that technology is a tool for museum, not as the we have to use the tool, and we have to know where and when and how to use them wisely, not only for the sake of using the museum, using technology. And we use the presentation that I did. It was about database, which digital will help us to record the several thousand of objects, and we cannot rely on our memories, or we cannot. We need particular programs to handle the massive data. And that is when technology comes in, and then it would be very helpful, and it would be very helpful. It would make our lives easier, but don't bring in technology if they make your life more difficult and you cannot adjust to it. And that's why before you get into software program, you have to know what you wanted. Don't let the programmer to write the structure, and then in the end, if the user and the programmers didn't talk, in the end, it will be a problem, because the user wouldn't understand what's going on, and the program creator didn't know the requirement of the users, for example. Yes. That is
Okay,
my
thank you
question.
very much,
Is that it?
Professor Kanjana
My
Junten.
pleasure.
Yeah. The next question would be from Divya. Yeah, Miss Divya. She is a student of the Syarif Hidayatullah State Islamic University in Jakarta. She is asking, is the Thammasat University planning to build a museum, or the university already had the building? Yes, I can answer your question, I think. Yeah, yes, and maybe later. Okay, so the Thammasat University presenting how they managed to successfully done the project. Thank you very much. Maybe I think let me clarify what she wanted to ask. What is actually a key success of the Thammasat Museum University, Thammasat Museum of Anthropology? Yeah. So perhaps I would like to invite Dr. Udomluk and Dr. Siripon Sri Sinurai to answer these questions.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to clarify. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for your questions. I think one answer that I want to highlight here is that when this question was raised about like how to expand people's interest to the museum as a resource of knowledge. So for Thammasat, we think as I mentioned in my slide, that we are moving forward, not just seeing ourselves as a source of knowledge. As Ajahn Pachanok also mentioned, that we see ourselves as a facilitator. So we are not the only institute that produce knowledge. So we move to another direction, that we share knowledge together, and we want to learn more from other people. So museum is we as a place, we are a place that we hold the collections of, and when we have a research, and then we became like a research center or learning center, and at the same time we still want to learn more from other people, and then we want people to contribute to our museum. So in this direction, we think we have to go together with the community and networks, not just ourselves as authority or as education institute that hold the authority on the knowledge production. So I think the key to successful is that we need to collaborate and working with the community, academic communities, and also the local communities. And then in this aspect, we can apply to other area, for example, heritage management, and also some of the current issues that has conflict outside the museum, that we can bring people together to our museum to discuss and try to solve the problem. So I think museum should not be only the place that education discussion and academic discussion will be restricted here. So we should expand ourselves to society outside the museum as well, bring people together as a platform, as Ajahn Saripon mentioned.
Thank you very much, Dr. Udamluk, for your important response to the question. I would like to invite Dr. Siripon Sri Sinurai to respond to Ms. Divya as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I quite agree, and we also share this idea, similar to Ajahn Pojanok and Ajahn Udomlak already said. I think the key success for museums today, not only university museums, I think it should be applied or thinking about museums in the wider area. The key should be the social engagement. I think this is also the pain point maybe about the museum work so far. 200 years ago, university museums already have very long history, but mainly they quite limited to the professionals to inside university. But now we also share this value or this approach to work, that how to connect or reconnect the museums to the wider actors or participants, not only inside the museum, but also to, as I tell you, not only communities around the museum, but also to the society in the wider area, including to share with the museum communities in the global world. I think we also the area that have work and share dialogue, not only in each country, but also we also have the global communities of museums and museum practitioners. And yes, I think also this direction, I'm working for now, and to share with our colleagues that I try to connect and to bring in and to carry out knowledge, experience, memory from each other. And that I in finally sentence that I tell you that we have to work collaboratively with actors, not only in university but outside. And also it's quite to make our museum as the inclusive platform, not have the hierarchy, that have the top different power relation that have really have a gap, but should be to make inclusive, that friendly, easily to access and to share and to make dialogue. And this is, for me, for now, I think would be the key success to work on museum, especially university museum. And then the connections or the communication, the dialogue between us inside the university and people outside university in the society, it should be expand, not only collaborative collaboration between actors and inside and outside, but also to expand knowledge, especially the COVID-19 that I tell you, because the stories have impact very wide and every sectors of the society. What we know or have record in the book or research is really little. So many things, so many stories still there outside the academia. So this should be what I think to be in the future, and for now, the key of success, to work with society and social engagement. Thank you.
Very much, Dr. Siripon Sri Sinurai, for your excellent response to the questions. Is there any other questions? Ibu Umi Kulsum or Ibu Wina, do you want to raise some questions to our panelists? Yeah, we have actually 7 minutes left. Okay. Is there any?
There is a question in the chat box.
Oh, I see.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll read it. From Yasmin.
From Yasmin. Okay.
Yes, from
Okay.
Yasmin.
Thank you very much Professor Kanjana Junten. Let me read. My name is Yasmin. Maybe Yasmin is Arabic, yeah. Jasmine. Yasmin, a student from the Sharif Hidayatullah State Islamic University. I would like to ask, what are the potential benefits that a university can generate when successfully integrating arthropods into teaching and research in the social sciences and humanities? So perhaps this question is for all the panelists, maybe, yeah. And let's consider it as concluding remarks of our panelists today. Maybe we start from Dr. Udamluk, and then Dr. Sripan, and Professor Suparjanok, and Dr. Pungki. Please, I would like to invite first Dr. Udamluk to respond to this question.
Thank you. I think this question is it gives me to try to reflect myself. What is the benefits of my teaching? I mean, in the curriculum on heritage and archaeology and museum studies as well. So, what is the benefits of this learning and teaching artifacts? I think it's go back to my museum's motto: seeing things, understanding people. Apart from our academic discussion, and then we teach students about the academic discussion and what's the theory, what's the practice in the academic field. When we teaching and working with students in our museum, I think this raises the question for the student to think deeply about objects. So in our aims, I think we don't want our students to see objects as a physical things that's already abandoned or non-function from and very old one in the museum anymore. So we try to encourage students as much as they can to try to think about linking these objects to something outside the museum building, outside the museum context. So I think the benefits of this is that when our students graduate from our course, we hope to see that students they can see objects and then can explain that more than the physical things. They can see the connection between relationship between people's memories, and sometimes it's political movement. So it can be linked to anything in the contemporary issues. So I think this thing that we hope to see, and hope that our students can develop further than us, maybe when they go to the real world outside university. So that's my question. Hope this is answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Udamluk, for your remarkable response to the questions. And I would like to invite Dr. Siripon to respond to this question and also the concluding remarks of your speech. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Professor Yusef. I think these questions can answer as I already have replied to the former question, but I would like to say in different way, not only connect to outside university or mentions about society. I would like to come back to my class, different from the both professor who teach in the course that have focused on museum and heritage study, ancient history, archaeologists. I'm teaching sociology, describe contemporary issue, but I also suggest every class of mine to the museums, our museum, and separate as different exhibitions. Sometimes they see exhibitions about that you have seen, seeing things, understanding people, sometimes to primate and me, sometimes to object of resistance, also different issue. But what they reflect or what I have heard from our students, that would be to answer the questions of these questions. They say that they learn a lot, and more than that, what they learn, that should be the same message that we learn in the classroom. I think because I'm quite interested in museum study, also museum have some kind of special thing or kind of magic that let our student closer to the story or the thing that they learn, and they're quite fun, they're quite inspiring, they're quite interesting, not boring, only listening to our teacher or lecturer to lecture, but they have direct experience close to the object. But object, as we now in contemporary debate, we talk about the vibrant object or object agency. So object also have some kind of power, right, to connect with people. And museum also, as we have said about the sensory time space, museum also have some kind of magic that let people who come in have learned or have catch not only information but feeling, but have to learn value or have more interpretation or more dialogue with the museum exhibitions or the object in our museum. So this is, for me, it's very, very nice thing, and very happy to hear that when students reflect how they like to come in exhibition, even that exhibition is not related directly to our subject, but we can show them or let them to see understanding the thing that behind the scene, or even the social structure, even the social issue that behind the object. So this is, for me, it's very important, and would be the concluding remark for you or all us, that we also have a lot of things to do and to make our museum, our exhibitions have more meaningful and open, inclusive space for our students and our audience from outside the university as well. And thank you very much for inviting me to the webinar. I'm very, very happy and very delighted to share experience about our little exhibition with you today. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Srifan. I think all of your contributions to us, yeah, Dr. Domluk, our panelists today, yeah, is not little, but big, yeah, very big, very huge, advantageous, yeah, beneficial, yeah, especially for our millennial generations, yeah, and most of the participants are millennial, I think. And I would like to invite Professor Fazanok for responding to the question as well as for concluding remarks. The time is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. To add to what Dr. Udomrak and Dr. Siripon already said, museum is either object-based museum, or story-based museum. Museum will bring in people from all sort of background. And I'm an archaeologist by training, and I was put in charge of the museum. And then I had to learn a lot and have to kind of self-taught, or the museum made me go out and talk to people with different specialities. And museum is something of a disciplinary subject. So museum is very broad, and it can benefit the university, benefit students, as you may hear that museums sometimes have been used to kind of the space for people to come to consultation, or to relax, or to acquire knowledge, or to it's kind of meeting point between the present and the past as well. However, all the artifacts are in the hands of the present. So whatever we're going to do with it in the future is in our hands, and be creative and be positive, and don't give up. And I think it's the key that be creative, and museums requires all sort of skills, and you pick your best skills first, and I think move forward from then on, and museums will bring you to meet new friends and new people and interesting people and activities. Yes, that is from me, and I'm grateful to be in this panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Pajanuk, for your highly important and magnificent response to the question, and also your concluding remarks. Let me go to Dr. Pungki Purnomo for responding to the question, as well as for your concluding remark, please.
Okay. I think the discussion of about museum, particularly university museum, is must be promoted more and more in order to enhance the awareness of campus community, that museum is also important as the library. I think that's all. Thank you very much.
Very much, Dr. Pungki Purnomo, for your brief concluding remarks. And so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention and participation. We have come to the end of our seminar on the international webinar from artifacts to academia. How does a university museum expand the horizons of studies on humanities and social science? That is the key questions of our webinar. I hope you have. What happened is, I hope you have enjoyed this session and gained some valuable insights and knowledge from our speakers. Before we close this session, let me briefly summarize the main points and takeaways from our speakers in regard to their responses to the term expand, because that is the key term of our webinar today. So what does it mean? Dr. Udam Lok helped explain to define the term to expand by sharing knowledge. So by saying that museum is a comfortable place for us to share knowledge, not only to facilitate academia with collections, but also more important is to share it with a broader community, including community beyond academia, ordinary community. Therefore, when I came to the museum in the Faculty of Thammasat, in the Faculty of Sociology and Anthropology at the Thammasat University, there were also many people, including I think people non-academia, yeah, who visited the university, and this sharing activity will help us reproduce knowledge continuously. So knowledge is not fixing. Yeah. Knowledge is reproduced by sharing between the museum, with academia, and the wider community. Next, Dr. Sirifon shared with Dr. Udamluk and gave us an important point of view that social engagement is critical by saying that collaboration with academia and local community, and certainly they are certainly important, but this rule is to be strongly connected to social engagement. And then Professor Ojano sharpened these ideas by stressing interdisciplinary approaches to museum and digitizing the collection and empowering skills, especially let's say a social skill. Yeah. And then finally, Dr. Pungki Purnomo obtained very important view from the panelists from Thammasat, yeah, that Indonesia needed to learn from museum in Thammasat, from Thailand, let's say from Thailand, yeah, to make it more accessible to the wider community. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give applause to our panelists today. Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much. So we also had some lively and interesting discussion and questions from the audience, and thank you for your active involvement and contribution. And I would like to thank our speakers once again for their time and expertise, and let's give them a big round of applause. Yeah. So okay, thank you very much. Yeah. And I would like also to thank the deans of the Faculty of Sociology and Anthropology of the Thammasat University, yeah, Professor Chantani, and of course, the Dean of the Faculty of Adab and Humanities of the Sharif Hidayatullah State Islamic University in Jakarta, Dr. Ade Abdul Haq, yeah, for making this event possible. And please give them a hand as well. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I hope that by this webinar, our collaborations, yeah, between our faculty here in Indonesia and the Faculty of Sociology and Anthropology will be strengthened. Yeah, maybe we can move beyond the webinar by participating in joint research as well, and others. Yeah, okay. So finally, I would like to thank you all for joining us today, and especially the student in our meeting room here. I hope you all have learned something new and useful from this international webinar. And thank you very much, and have a great day. Yeah. Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And for those who have not yet filled the form on the chat, please fill it. and you may leave the webinar. So, thank you very much.
Dear participants, we're going to have a short photo session together. So please kindly switch on your cameras, and we will. I will take a photo session. So kindly switch on your cameras.
You may count from 1 to 3, Salam, in order to make us smile.
Okay, I hope everyone's ready. The first slide, there are 5 slides. So just smile. The first slide, 3,
Yes.
2, 1.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, then the second slide. 3, 2, 1. Then the third slide. 3, 2, 1. The fourth slide. 3, 2, 1. And the final slide. 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Sirifan, Professor Ojanak, and Professor Domluk. Thank you very much. Terima kasih Pak Halid dan teman-teman semuanya, Pak Rosid. Thank you very much, Dr. Rosid. Bu Darsita, thank you. Pak Tasman, thank you. Bu
Makasih
Maria.
Pak Usep. Pak Pungki, makasih.
Ya, Bu Zakia, thank you very much. Ya, salam, thank you, salam. Ya. Oke.
Selamat sukses acaranya Pak Pungki.
Ya.
Pak Usep.
Terima kasih Pak Tasman. Terima kasih.
Sama-sama. Ya.
Thank you
Terima kasih
for
sudah hadir,
every
ya.
participant and especially for Mr. Usep, beautiful speaker.